We made it, Kitty.
Oh my goodness. It's still, I think, yeah, because we have another book ready, it's like, yeah, okay, fine, no, this is a pretty huge accomplishment.
It really is.
I'm just so glad that we get to just jump into the next one afterwards, though, because it's just like, I can't handle this, just not knowing.
Yeah, me too, especially after the cliffhanger of last chapter. What's potentially being set up for book 3. But, like, we did it. It's not just one completed project, but 2. It feels so good.
As of the end of this recording, boys,
Yes.
We have just a few pages here. It's... you know what? I think I'm in denial. I feel like I'm in denial. Yeah.
I can see that. Again, we're gonna be going straight into the next book, so it's not like there's rest or anything. It's all one story. The gravity of it.
Just bask in it for a little.
Yeah. When you set out to do something, let alone when you set out to do something with another person, and you're able to commit to it for such a long time, to be able to put that bow on it and at the end of the day say, I did this, to transition from, yeah, I'm doing this thing, to I did this thing. Look at the completeness.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at, is that it's like, this is a thing we do, you know, it's just a thing we do. And there's like, no, you know what, it has results, it finishes, like there's things that get done.
Yeah.
This is yeah. So well done, and thank you, Dorkus.
Thank you, Kitty, and thank you everyone who's been listening, because it's been a journey, and I so love reading comments and the excitement that I see there. Okay, shall we do this? Hello and welcome to the No One Asked You podcast. For this particular series, I am joined by my wonderful co-host, That Darn Kitty.
Dorkus and I are both going into the story completely new, with almost no knowledge of the story or world.
Each segment, we intend to cover what happens in each new chapter and discuss our experience along the way.
Hold on to your butts, because this is Ascension Unleashed, a blind read-through, and today we will be covering Chapter 59 and the epilogue.
Chapter 59 and the epilogue! For he must not be allowed to release the thing that is imprisoned there.
Are you kidding me?
Wait. That was in here the whole time, and when
Sazed read it.
And Sazed read it, and when Vin said to Sazed, do you think I'm the hero of ages? You didn't think to mention that to Vin?
Yeah,
shame on
we're
you,
talking
Sazed.
about we've had conversations about what the deepness is. Also, by the way, here's a reference of this thing calling something we've wondered about what the Well of Ascension is, and you over here have a reference that refers to it being imprisoned. We haven't had conversations about this the whole time. This had better not be in Sazed's book.
Yeah, and you...
I'm sorry.
You spend your whole time claiming Alendi is not the hero of ages, when you could have just said, look, maybe he is the hero of ages, but he shouldn't do this thing, because if he does, this worst thing will happen.
Yes. What are you doing saying the thing that is imprisoned there? Tell us more about the thing that's imprisoned there. Spend most of your freaking steel writing doing that.
Quan,
you
deserve to have your story forgotten, Quan. Screw you.
Yeah, jeez, Quan, you might as well have. You might as well have not written this. Thank you. We've learned nothing, really. You know what? Yeah, you thought that you were doing us a favor. No, and you put it the way that this is written is as if it's at the end. You know, like it's the last thing he wrote. He didn't talk about what's imprisoned there, all of that. But even so, if this was in there, don't you feel like it would be really amiss for Tindwyl and Sazed not to be talking about it as if it's a big deal.
Yep.
Like, they've read all of this. What do you... I'm struggling to see how they perceive this and just kind of dismiss it as an ancient record and whatever, we need to verify it. Like, this is a big deal.
Yeah. That there is something imprisoned in the Well of Ascension that Vin intends to go to the Well of Ascension. That very night, you were just talking. She left, you were together. Why?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say...
I need explanations.
Yeah.
I do. Like, this would break the book for me if I don't have a strong enough explanation. This is a big deal for me.
Yeah. Like, it almost would have been better if Quan just rambled endlessly.
Yeah. I'm fuming, actually. But... And maybe, okay, if we had acknowledgement of this from Sazed and then the characters ignored, we could get frustrated with the characters for ignoring it. That would maybe be better than the characters not mentioning it ever until we read it in an epigraph. I don't know, Sanderson. So it has to be like rubbed out or something on like it wasn't there. Like, we get this meta knowledge through the epigraph, we actually the characters don't know this. That would be the only solution here, is the characters don't know it, because I don't. The characters having ignored it and then retroactively explain why they ignored it, not good enough for me. Not good enough.
Or you can like vaguely... Well, Tindwyl, what do you think about that part at the end? Oh, that part? I don't know. This is really all about Alendi, though, so let's focus on him.
Yeah.
Some sort of lampshade.
Something.
Vaguely.
Something. Yeah, it is blindingly... We need a lampshade here. So I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Something. This, like, I'm serious. This is book breaking for me.
Yeah. I mean...
Like, it's a big, big, glaring thing for me. Oh my goodness.
When we do... our epigraph stream, we'll see. I can only imagine the big hint that everyone says we've missed alludes to this. So maybe there's a hint. Yeah,
but still, even so.
Yeah, there's no reason.
Hint for us. That's great for us, but not for the characters. This needs to not be something the characters know. For me.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to be wrong. I want to be wrong. Let me be wrong. Let him twist it a way I didn't think. He could and fix this.
Yeah.
So let's get into it.
But okay, so now we've got two factions. The ones that think the Hero of Ages need to do the thing that he needs to do, and then one that says we cannot release the monster. So clearly the Mist Spirit with the knife is in the we can't release the monster crowd. And then the others are in the we have to do the Hero of Ages thing, right?
Well, it seems like the person killing Elend was trying to get Vin to take the power.
Exactly, which would have kept the monster imprisoned.
Or he's trying to get... he knows that she's going to let it go. And it's just trying to persuade her to... what's her name? To give it up.
Okay.
To basically, there doesn't have to be two factions of Mist Spirits here, I don't think.
Okay.
Do you not agree?
I don't disagree.
They're too unclear for me. It's possible, but I'm not convinced either way.
Cool. Also, we still don't have that Holy First Witness announcer thing
discussion
answered yet either. While we're upset about the
possible
epigraphs.
lie. Yeah, exactly.
Vin lay there, quietly weeping. The cavern... Well, at least she's still alive. Not that I ever thought she would die, but... The cavern was still, the tempest over. The thing was gone, and the thumping in her mind was finally quiet. She sniffled, arms around Elend, holding him as he gasped his final few breaths.
Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah. She'd screamed for help, calling for Ham and Spook, but had gotten no response. They were too far away. I kind of thought Sazed would make it in time.
You were hoping so. And he's just having his final few breaths. Oh. Why is this so much more painful right now? I guess maybe I had hope for him in the previous chapter, or it hadn't hit me properly. I don't know. It's like, no, he's really dead now. No, like, Kitty, he's dead. Wake up.
Yeah. She felt cold, empty. After holding that much power, then having it ripped from her, she felt like she was nothing. And once Alan died, she would be.
What would be the point?
She thought.
Life doesn't mean anything. I've betrayed Elend. I've betrayed the world.
No, you didn't.
Hold up here. Yeah, you haven't betrayed Elend. You did what he wanted. Maybe now the only way this thought makes sense is if she knows she's released something.
And I get the sense that she does know she released something, but like it's not wholly her fault if she thought she was doing the thing that the hero was supposed to do.
Yeah.
You can grant some leniency. It's not like the correct information was out there for her to consider.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, Sazed.
But also, just thinking about this as well, she's geez, I've lost my train of thought. But oh yes, there we go. We're hearing this the way that Sazed is what's the point for Sazed as well. When he lost Tindwell, this is she should be spiraling right now. So it makes sense. But so she's going to think, even though she's not going to give herself any grace, she is going to say she's betrayed everything. So why not? Because she's lost everything.
Have I articulated that I think God is the deepness now?
Well, I think it makes sense that's what you were thinking. I don't think you've said that exact word, though.
Okay, yeah. If I didn't, particularly in the last chapter, I'm thinking God is the deepness, and it didn't want Zane to kill Vin because it was trying to manipulate Vin into doing what she did.
Yep.
She wasn't certain what had happened, but she'd made some kind of horrible, horrible mistake. The worst part was, she had tried so hard to do what was right, no matter how much it hurt. And she did.
Yeah, so she knows. So she definitely knows this is not good. But you tried, and that's even more painful. You could have saved him. You did what you thought he thought would be right, but remember, he had a smile on his face. Was he being alamanced? And it's not her fault. It's Sazed's fault. It's the scholar's fault.
Something loomed above her. She looked up at the mist spirit, but could feel no rage. She was having trouble feeling anything at the moment. The spirit raised an arm, pointing.
It's over,
she whispered. It pointed more demandingly.
I won't get to them in time. Besides, I saw how bad the cut was. Saw it with the power. There's nothing any of them could do, not even Sazed. So you should be pleased. You got what you wanted. She
trailed off. Why had the spirit stabbed Elend?
To make me heal him?
She thought.
To keep me. Okay, so yes, here you are, you're right. Sorry. Yeah, the spirit killed Elend to make her get... The thing I was saying is that the spirit attacked Elend to make her get into the water. That's what I was trying to say. That's what it was doing. That was how it was manipulating her. That's what I mean by there might not be two factions. It might just be trying to manipulate her to get into it. But now what she's thinking through is maybe she was supposed to heal him. So the Smith spirit is of the faction of Vin must take the power.
Yes.
Okay, I'm getting it now. To make me heal him.
She thought.
To keep me from releasing the power.
She blinked her eyes. The spirit waved its arm. Slowly, numbly, she got to her feet. She watched the spirit in a trance as it floated a few steps over and pointed at something on the ground. The room was dark now that the pool was empty and was illuminated only by Ellen's lantern. She had to flare tin to see what the spirit was pointing at. A piece of pottery, the disc Ellen had taken from the shelf by the doorway and had been holding in his hand. It had broken when he'd collapsed. The mist
Okay,
spirit...
so that disc, sorry, just a reminder, that disc was not broken. Thing.
Okay.
Because we thought it was.
Yeah, we did. I thought there were several, though, and maybe some were broken and some weren't. Doesn't matter.
Yes, that's the thing. I was saying some of them are broken, and maybe that one wasn't. Now all of them are. So again, with the seals thing. Mm-hmm.
The mist spirit pointed urgently. Vin approached and bent over, fingers finding the small nugget of metal that had been at the disc's center.
What is it?
She whispered. The mist spirit turned and drifted back to Elend. Oh shit! He's gonna snap!
Huh? Okay, go. Let it. Yes, do it. I don't. Fine. I want that.
I bet he's gonna snap and maybe he'll drink like the well water. Is there well water left? And that'll help him.
Nothing left.
There's nothing there. Okay.
No.
Vin walked up quietly. He was still alive. He seemed to be getting weaker and was trembling less. Eerily, as he grew closer to death, he seemed a bit more in control. He looked at her as she knelt, and she could see his lips moving. Vin, he whispered. She knelt beside him and looked at the bead of metal, then up at the spirit. It stood motionless. She rolled the bead between her fingers, then moved to eat it. The spirit moved urgently, shaking its hands. Vin halted.
Okay, good.
Good.
Yeah, it's don't eat it. It's for him.
Vin halted, and the spirit pointed at Elend.
What?
She thought, but she wasn't really in a state to think. She held the nugget up to Elend.
Elend,
She whispered, leaning close.
You must swallow this.
She wasn't certain whether he understood her, though he did appear to nod. She placed the bit of metal in his mouth. His lips moved, but he started to choke. Oh.
I
Sorry.
have to get him something to wash it down. Yeah, what is it?
She thought. The only thing...
It's a healing potion. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. The only thing she had was one of her metal vials. She reached into the empty well, retrieving her earring and her sash. She pulled free a vial and poured the liquid into his mouth. Elend continued to cough weakly, but the liquid did its work well, washing down the bead of metal. Vin knelt, feeling so powerless, a depressing contrast to how she had been mere moments before. Elend closed his eyes. This is it. Then oddly, the color seemed to return to his cheeks. Vin knelt, confused, watching him. The look on his face, the way he lay, the color of his skin. She burned bronze and was shocked to feel pulses coming from Elend. He was burning pewter.
Yay! Oh my god! I'm sorry. I would rather have him do that. Sorry. Wait. Is that bead thing?
Mm-hmm.
It makes you an Allomancer?
Does it make you an Allomancer? Does it make you a Mistborn? Or does it just make you whatever the metal is, in this case, pewter?
I don't know.
I don't know.
We don't know it was pewter. You don't know what metal that was.
Point being, now I just want to know, is he a thug or is he a Mistborn? That's my last question.
And was it... My question is, was it that bead thing that made him into an Allomancer? Of some sort.
Yeah.
Or did he snap? What was that bead? Because it seems like he might have given those things to the nobility or whatever, and that's what made them... it was a gift of allomancy. So that thing, it seemed to me, I'm leaning more towards... I've spoken myself into it. I'm leaning more towards that. That bead is something that makes you a Mistborn.
Gotcha. Which would be how Rashek gave the nobleman allomancy.
Yep.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You know, which would be how
Let's
Rashek
get in.
gave
Yeah. Yeah, it would be.
Yeah. Okay. Epilogue.
Yes.
Oh, but I see the first words are 2 weeks later.
Mm-hmm.
How fast? How long do they have before the thing they freed destroys the world? How much of the world can it even destroy if there isn't that much left of it after Rashek did what he did?
I don't know. What? Yeah, but I suppose we're alive somehow.
Epilogue. Okay. 2 weeks later, a solitary figure arrived at the conventicle of Saren. Sazed had left Luthadel quietly, troubled by his thoughts and by the loss of Tindwyl. He'd left a note. He couldn't stay in Luthadel, not at the moment. Rude.
And I still want to talk about the previous
Epigraph?
Yeah. So
yeah, Sazed, did you not apologize to Vin, saying, hey, sorry I didn't mention this to you right before you went off to do what I knew what you were going to do? Terrible. The mists still killed. They struck random people who went out at night with no discernible pattern. Many of the people did not die, but only became sick. Others the mists murdered. Sazed didn't know what to make of the deaths. He wasn't even certain if he cared. Vin spoke of something terrible she had released at the Well of Ascension. She had expected Sazed to want to study and record her experience. Instead, he left. Rebel Sazed.
Sazed, hold up. Yep. Okay, so Sazed, sounds like Sazed didn't know then. He didn't know that this, because the way that this is in his POV, he's just like, yeah, Vin spoke of something terrible she had released at the Well of Ascension. I would think that his thinking goes straight. It must have something to do with the thing or whatever. It's seeming like he's not putting them together even now.
Yeah.
This rubbing versus. But now he's going back to the conventicle. What's he going to see there? Oh, sorry, there's this one line I missed. Oopsie.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if words like announcer and holy first witness can just change willy-nilly, surely whole sentences can be.
Let's see if we get answers in the next few pages.
Yeah. He made his way through the solemn... Yeah, maybe he's going to go back to the plate and he'll see, like, the line that didn't get translated from the charcoal. Transferred, yeah. He made his way through the solemn steel-plated rooms. He half expected to be confronted by one inquisitor or another. Perhaps Marsh would try to kill him again. By the time he and Ham had returned from the storage cavern beneath Luthadel, Marsh had vanished again. Okay. We've got our anime villain for the next book.
Yeah. He's working on behalf of that
thing.
The deepness, I suppose. Yeah.
His work had apparently been done. He'd stalled Sazed long enough to keep him from stopping Vin. Sazed made his way down the steps, through the torture chamber, and finally into the small rock room he'd visited on his first trip to the conventicle 3 months before. He dropped his pack to the ground, working it open with tired fingers, then looked up at the large steel plate. Okay. Quan's final words stared back at him. Yeah, surely that last sentence just wasn't transferred.
Yeah.
Sazed knelt, pulling a carefully tied portfolio from his pack. He undid the string and then removed his original rubbing, made in this very room months before. He recognized his fingerprints on the thin paper, knew the strokes of the charcoal to be his own. He recognized the smudges he made. With growing nervousness, he held the rubbing up and slapped it against the steel plate on the wall, and the two did not match.
What?
How? Also, why did the Inquisitors go to Terrace then?
Yeah. What were they doing there? Maybe they didn't know. They didn't know where the Well of Ascension was.
Yeah.
They don't have the thumping going on.
Yeah.
So maybe they tried that. And maybe they also wanted to get rid of the Terrace because the Terrace might be the only people that know this. I don't know.
But okay, how do the two not match? It was an exact rubbing, right? Sazed stepped back, uncertain what to think now that his suspicions had been confirmed. The rubbing slipped limply from his fingers, and his eyes found the sentence at the end of the plate. The last sentence, the one that the mist spirit had ripped free time and time again. The original one on the steel plate was different from the one Sazed had written and studied. Alendi must not reach the Well of Ascension, Quan's ancient words read, for he must not be allowed to release the thing that is imprisoned there. Sazed sat down quietly. It was all a lie, he thought numbly. The religion of the Terrace people. The things the keepers spent millennia searching for, trying to understand. It was a lie. The so-called prophecies, the hero of ages, a fabrication, a trick.
So was it able to influence certain things around? That it changed this? Because remember, this thing has some sort of power to change the world.
Clearly it can whisper to people if it's God.
Yeah, and it gets loud. And remember, the thumping got louder and things like that. So maybe its influence. This is the same sort of principle in the Wheel of Time, where the Dark One gets further and further out of his prison and is able to touch the world more and more. Not absolutely, but more and more. And maybe that helps him change this lie or change this plate. Yeah. How does this? I'm still not getting why this plate over here is completely different.
Yes, I want to know what specifically is different. I mean, obviously you and I think it's the announcer Holy First Witness thing is, but I want to know what about that last line is different as well.
Well, the last line apparently wasn't there, it seems like. That's also why the rubbing would not match completely. As well. It would be easier to notice that there's a whole line missing and whatever. But also, again, just another screw you, Quan. You put it at the end there as well.
Yeah. What better way for such a creature to gain freedom? Men would die in the name of prophecies. They wanted to believe, to hope. If something could harness that energy, twist it, what amazing things could be accomplished. Sazed looked up at the words on the wall, reading the second half once again. It contained paragraphs that were different from his rubbing. Or rather, his rubbing had been changed somehow, changed to reflect what the thing had wished Sazed to read. I write these words in steel, Quan's first words said, for anything not set in metal cannot be trusted. Sazed shook his head. They should have paid attention to that sentence. Oh my god! It can't change things in steel, but it can change things on paper? That makes...
Okay.
I can buy that. Interesting. They should have paid attention to that sentence. Everything he had studied after that had apparently been a lie. He looked up at the plate, scanning its contents, coming to the final section. And so I come to the focus of my argument. I apologize. Even forcing my words into steel, sitting and scratching in this frozen cave, I am prone to ramble. This is the problem. Yeah. Yep. Very much so.
Okay, so we're getting the real one. Why could... You know what? Would this still have happened if Sazed had read it, okay, like this, and put it into a metal mind?
Yeah.
Would that also not be trusted?
I'm not sure, but at the end of the day, Marsh didn't exactly give him time to commit it to full memory. Yeah.
And he was just like doing sporadic research. It wasn't like, oh, this is the key to everything. I need to really focus on it. It's just like, wow, that's interesting. Yeah.
This is the problem. Though I believed in Alendi at first, I later became suspicious. It seemed that he fit the signs, true. But how can I explain this? Could it be that he fit them too well? Yeah, now it's clear. Someone set up the prophecy specifically to fit him, to get him to go release, I know your argument. We speak of the anticipation, of things foretold, of promises made by our greatest prophets of old. Of course the hero of ages will fit the prophecies. He will fit them perfectly. That's the idea. Oh, and Quan talked about his wonderful mind, so whatever clearly he had read, set in metal, might have differed from his own writings, and he might have caught on to that. Things I noticed. Of course the hero of ages will fit the prophecies. He will fit them perfectly. That's the idea. And yet, something about this all seemed so convenient. It felt almost as if we constructed a hero to fit our prophecies, rather than allowing one to arise naturally. This was the worry I had, the thing that should have given me pause when my brethren came to me, finally willing to believe. After that, I began to see other problems. Some of you may know of my fabled memory. It is true. I need not...
There you go. Sorry, the fabled memory. Bringing up the fabled memory now is he has like eidetic memory, and then he wrote things, and so he noticed that there's a difference. He noticed this tomfoolery kind of thing, similar to what Tindwell and Daisy, don't step on things. Sorry, similar to what Tindwell and Sazed went through. So this makes sense now. And that's why it's turned to Holy First Witness, because hey, somebody said that. So he whatever this being is changed it to show, look, this is what. Look, it's true. It's true. Vin it was doing the same thing to him.
Yeah, it's influencing things semi-retroactively to fit the current situation.
To show, look how this matches the prophecies. Yeah.
Yeah. It is true. I need not a ferochemist's metal mind to memorize a sheet of words in an instant. And I tell you, call me daft, but the words of the prophecies are changing. The alterations are small, clever even. A word here, a slight twist there, but the words on the pages are different from the ones in my memory. The other world-bringers scoff at me, for they have their metal minds to prove to them that the books and prophecies have not changed. Yep, that... Sanderson shot his shot and he scored. Yeah, that.
Yep, it's making good enough sense. So, does this also mean the metal minds can be corrupted? Yeah, so the metal mind is corrupted as well.
And so, this is the great declaration I must make. There is something, some force that wants us to believe that the hero of ages has come, and that he must travel to the Well of Ascension. Something is making the prophecies change so that they refer to Alendi more perfectly. And whatever this power is, it can change words within a ferochemist's metal mind.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. There we go.
Yep.
And that makes it, the big bad is even bigger and badder.
Yep. Oh, man. What a power.
Okay. And he can do this without being released. Interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe he needs time to build this sort of stuff up. That's why he could do this kind of influence later on without Rashik.
Yeah. So how many of these words does Sazed remember? How many does he not remember? And was Marsh doing the bidding of this creature when he brought Sazed to the conventicle in the first place? Was he doing the creature's bidding when he didn't allow for Sazed to have enough time to sit and commit the thing to memory?
I mean, that could be it. Yeah.
Not that
or
Marsh
or Marsh didn't, wasn't doing the bidding, and then somehow started then, or on that day that he left Sazed. It could go either way.
Yeah. The others call me mad. As I have said, that may be true. But must not even a madman rely on his own mind, his own experience, rather than that of others? I know what I have memorized. I know what is now repeated by the other world-bringers. The two are not the same. Oh, I'm loving this added context.
Yeah, and thank you, Quan, for not being... you know what? You are doing a different voice for Quan, because you were doing Quan as a terraceman before, but I'm actually liking this because this is the real Quan. So it's a different voice. I like it.
No, see, whenever I've done... seems to be a misapprehension, I say, based off of a previous comment we got as well. When I'm reading the epigraphs, I'm not trying to do any sort of voice. I'm just reading the epigraphs. Yeah. When Sazed has been reading the metal sheet, I've been doing Sazed's voice because he's the one reading the metal sheet. But I don't think he's reading this aloud here. I mean, I could do it in Sazed's voice if you want. I could give Quan a voice if you want.
No, I don't want it because I want it to be different to what I've had in my head.
Sure. The two are not the same. I sense a craftiness behind these changes, a manipulation subtle and brilliant. I've spent the last 2 years in exile, trying to decipher what the alterations could mean. I've come to only one conclusion. Something has taken control of our religion, something nefarious, something that cannot be trusted. It misleads and it cloaks in shadows. It uses Alendi to destroy, guiding him along a path of death and sorrow. It is pulling him toward the Well of Ascension, where the millennial power has gathered. Millennial power. That seems important.
Yeah. Yeah, it gathers. That just seems to be the time that it does, because it gathers up every now and then, I suppose, every millennia, with every millennia. And then it needs to be drained or used or whatever. Or this thing needs to be unplugged or something like that. So, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That the well is full.
Yeah. I can only guess that it sent the deepness as a method of making mankind more desperate, of pushing us to do as it wills.
True.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, now this is an interesting distinction. I had, I suppose, connected both the millennial power and the deepness as one and the same, but I guess the deepness in its entirety is a fabrication, and it's this millennial power that
Or it's
just
some sort of
perpetrated
manifestation.
it.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it could also be a manifestation of this power, but while it's contained, if you know what I'm saying. It's the same thing as the Dark One touching the world in the Wheel of Time. The deepness is able to touch the world more and more as the well fills up.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you take that plug away or release it, then the deepness is just free completely, which it seems like that's what this entity is. So I don't think it fabricated the deepness. I think it is the deepness.
Yeah, agreed.
Contained, yeah.
The prophecies have changed. They now tell Alendi that he must give up the power once he takes it. This is not what was once implied by the texts. They were more vague, and yet the new version seems to make it a moral imperative. The texts now outline Go on.
Sorry. So the terrorist religion was a thing. It's not that it's a thing that has been corrupted. It's not created for this deepness thing. It's the deepness influencing it. Okay, so the big bad influencing it. So it did have prophecies. It does have a Hero of Ages. The Hero of Ages does exist. It's just that this is twisted, all of this, so that the imperative has to be release the power.
Yeah, which again speaks to the creature's gonna have to get released regardless, so that the real Hero of Ages, the true Hero of Ages, can stop the beast.
Yeah, exactly.
Imprisoning it was just a temporary solution. You realize also that this throws all of Alendi's journal into question as well, yeah?
Yep. Anything not in steel. Anything even in a metal mind.
Yep. Time to bust out the old lead sheets for writing messages now. And yet the new version seems to make it a moral imperative. The texts now outline a terrible consequence if the Hero of Ages takes the power for himself. Alendi believes what they say. He is a good man. Despite it all, he is a good man. A sacrificing man. In truth, all of his actions, all of the deaths, destructions, and pains that he has caused have hurt him deeply. All of these things were a kind of sacrifice for him. He is accustomed to giving up his own will for the greater good, as he sees it. I have no doubt that if Alendi reaches the Well of Ascension, he will take the power, and then, in the name of the presumed greater good, will give it up. Give it away to this same force that has changed the texts, to this force of destruction that has brought him to war, that has tempted him to kill, that has craftily led him to the north. Okay?
Yeah, so that's what's happened to Vin and Sarzed, everyone.
Yep. I still want to know why the Mist Spirit tried to send Elend to the north before. Probably to keep the two... Well, I don't know.
Keep them away? I don't know. Keep Elend away.
Because if Elend wasn't in danger, it would have been a given that Vin would have given back the power. But
this Mist Spirit, like, you know, you were talking about the two factions? This Mist Spirit, it seems like it wanted Elend to, like, it's helping Vin.
Yeah.
So it seems like there's a good one and a bad one. It's weird. Is there what are these spirits? Is the deepness like it's let demons free on Earth as well?
I think it's a piercing the veil kind of thing. Maybe it is the dead. Maybe it is Kelsier. Yeah. This thing wants the power held in the well, and it has raped our religion's holiest tenets in order to get it. That's a very powerful word to use there, and I don't think Sanderson uses it lightly, and I think he uses it very effectively here.
Whenever he does use it, he uses it effectively. He doesn't bandy it about.
Yes. And so I have made one final gamble. My pleas, my teachings, my objections, and even my treasons were all ineffectual. Alendi has other counselors now, ones who tell him what he wants to hear. I have a young nephew, one Reshek. He hates all of Klenium with the passion of envious youth. He hates Alendi even more acutely, though the two have never met. For Reshek feels betrayed that one of our oppressors should have been chosen as the hero of ages. Alendi will need guides through the Terrace Mountains. I have charged Reshek with making certain that he and his trusted friends are chosen as those guides. Reshek is to try to lead Alendi in the wrong direction, to dissuade him, discourage him, or otherwise foil his quest. Alendi doesn't know that he has been deceived, that we've all been deceived, and he will not listen to me now. Did you try?
Yeah, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean he'll not listen? Like, have you said Alendi doesn't know that he's been deceived? Yeah, like, okay, tell him.
Yeah.
Tell him. Hello, like, huh? So we can still be irritated with Quan for that, guy.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Because Alendi did say, I don't know why Quan betrayed me.
Yeah, it's just... I think the stakes are high enough. If you're gonna send a bro to assassinate him, okay, maybe say, hey, listen, Alendi, like, stop. If he's such a good guy, I really do think we need to explain to him and at least try as much as you said as well, Dorkus. Even if he didn't believe and that's how he landed up dying or something, I'm okay with that. At least try. Like, imagine Sazed dying because he was trying to tell Vin and whatever. Like, we would still be happy that he tried.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Quan didn't try, so I'm still mad at Quan.
Yep. Very much so. If Reshek... This also means Reshek may or may not be a hero.
Mm-hmm.
If
Well,
Reshek...
does he know? Does he know why? I think Reshek is just like, I'll take the power. And he's still a freaking tyrant, though, because of the way he used it.
Yes, very much so. If Reshek fails to lead Alendi astray, then I have instructed the lad to kill my former friend. It is a distant hope. Alendi has survived assassins, wars, and catastrophes, and yet I hope that in the frozen mountains of Terrace he may finally be exposed. I hope for a miracle. Alendi
What do you
must
mean
not...
exposed?
Yeah, because it sounds
Okay,
like
hold
he
on.
is.
So, okay. Oh, no. I mean, like, exposed as in exposed to danger. Because I was like, what? Exposed? Yeah, okay. Initially, I was like, exposed as what? He doesn't know he's a fraud.
That's
Okay,
clever. That's very clever. We've been reading that line wrong this whole time.
Yeah.
Alendi must not reach the Well of Ascension, for he must not be allowed to release the thing that is imprisoned there.
Could you, yeah, okay, yeah, he did. So at least it wasn't just the last line. He did talk about this power quite extensively, about the thing that needs not to be released. Okay, thank goodness. This works for me. Absolutely not broken, all fixed.
Yes, very much so. Why can't this thing affect metal? And what if this means that allomancy is how they're going to defeat the thing?
Yeah, it's when she got in the well. Remember, she burned because of the metal. Like, she had to take her earring out.
Yep.
So yeah, I think that's a clue. It can't affect metal, and allomancy and ferrochemy are the key.
Yeah. Sazed sat back. It was the final blow, the last strike that killed whatever was left of his faith. He knew at that moment that he would never believe again.
Hold up.
Oof.
They were prophecies, and they are still around.
Yeah, religion
not
pre-existed
around,
this thing, supposedly.
Yes. Yeah, and yeah, you can't trust any of your records, I suppose. That's what he means. But like I said, the fact that there were prophecies before, that doesn't go away. Quan himself knew them. So this thing, as the millennial powers got closer, I think it was able to affect more of the records and things like that. So I think there was some truth that Quan knew. Yes, it's lost, I would say. But yeah, look, we've lost Tindwell, and he's never going to believe again. We have a faithless Sazed. What is he going to have faith in then? Is he just going to be a skeptic? What about hope? Does he lose all hope then?
I think
Sazed's got a long way to go.
He's got one hell of a journey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
he doesn't believe in anything, and we're expecting him to be the hero of ages, Dorkus.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Imagine everyone's trying to convince him he's the hero of ages, and he's like, I don't believe in that.
Yeah, I don't believe in anything. Faith lost me everything.
Yep, leave me alone. I'm just going to be a hermit.
Mm-hmm.
Vin found Elend standing on the city wall looking over the city of Luthadel, wearing a white uniform that Tindwyl had made for him. Oh, poor Tindwyl.
He's alive. Mm-hmm. He's alive, she isn't. I'm sorry.
Yeah. He looked harder than he had a few weeks before.
You're awake,
she said, moving up beside him. He nodded. He didn't look at her, but continued to watch the city with its bustling people. He'd spent quite a bit of time delirious and in bed, despite the healing power of his newfound allomancy. Even with pewter, the surgeons had been uncertain if he'd survive. He had, and like a true allomancer, he was up and about the first day he was lucid. Okay, but is he a Mistborn? Tell us!
Yeah, I don't know, maybe he hadn't decided yet. Sanderson hadn't decided, let's see.
What happened? He asked. She shook her head, leaning against the stones of the battlement. She could still hear that terrible booming voice. I am free! I'm an allomancer, Elend said. She nodded. Mistborn,
you didn't
apparently.
say Mistborn. Okay, there we go.
Mistborn, apparently. Yeah.
Okay.
Mistborn, apparently, he continued. Does this mean we're going to get an arc where Vin feels less special?
Yeah, maybe. And it's like now they're on equal footing. He gets to be an Allomancer. I don't find it that, like remember when we spoke about if Elend became an Allomancer?
Mm-hmm.
It would be shitty or whatever. It would be too much. I think the fact that he didn't snap makes this less contrived. Because we also needed an answer. It answers a question for us of where these allomancers came from. Where allomancy itself came from. Yes, okay, we still don't know what was in that bead. What allomancy itself is. If it doesn't come from the use of the Well of Ascension. Was it from a previous person who used the power? Who knows? Mm-hmm. We don't know that, but we do know that you can create an allomancer. And also, if we had that sort of stuff, that substance, why do we have inquisitors?
Yeah.
Because it seems like that whole method is a lot worse to create.
Although, holy shit, Rashek makes inquisitors and the Kolos, we presume, with metal spikes. Mm-hmm. They were made to combat the deepness, mm-hmm. the millennial energy.
Yes. Yeah.
But then why would Marsh want to kill Sazed?
Maybe it's hearing again. This thing is a trickster. This thing says it's God to people, essentially.
Yeah.
So it can just convince them. It can be a voice in their head. Yep. Maybe this thing disguises itself as Calcia in his head.
Yeah.
We got God. We got all kinds of things. Yeah, it's manipulative. So yeah, we've got a Mistborn, and I'm happy with that. And Vin's gonna have to train Elend.
Yes.
But I don't know about them being out in the mists anymore. It's not the same.
Yeah. I'm an allomancer, Elend said. She nodded. Mistborn, apparently, he continued.
I think we know where they came from now. The first allomancers.
What happened to the power? Ham didn't have a straight answer for me, and all anyone else knows are rumors.
I set something free. Something that shouldn't have been released. Something that led me to the well. I should never have gone looking for it, Elend. But it was pounding in your head and you had all these prophecies. Yes, I know, you shouldn't have gone. But according to you, you didn't know any of that.
Also, the mist was avoiding Vin. Elend stood in silence, still regarding the city. She turned, burying her head in his chest. Also, she tried to do good. I don't wholly blame her or any of them for being manipulated.
They were all of them deceived. They were. That's it. And just thinking about her drawing on the mists, because you've just made me think about the mists in the deepness, her drawing on the mists, she essentially could have drawn on this evil power to defeat Rashek, because it wants her to defeat Rashek, because that's what's keeping it imprisoned.
Yep. Allomancy is evil.
Well...
Powered by evil.
Okay, it's okay. No, it's not. No, because because the metal is what is completely against the deepness, right?
Yeah.
The metal, it burns the deepness. Remember? That was your whole theory you just came up with. So
I'm all over the place.
Leave Allomancy alone, Dorkus.
Look, I need to sit with what I read and ruminate on it and let the theories fly. Ellen stood in silence, still regarding the city. She turned, burying her head in his chest.
It was terrible. I could feel that, and I set it free.
Ellen wrapped his arms around her. You did the best thing you could, Vin. In fact, you did the right thing. How could you have known that everything you'd been told, trained, and prepared to do was wrong?
Exactly. You know what mine says? Finally, what? Ellen wrapped his arms around her. That finally is so it's giving me that Ellen's contemplating things. He seems harder than he was before. Okay, what's he seeing? What's he upset about?
It's just jaded. Not a life ruining near death experience. He's just been gifted godlike powers, and the world is and also in danger.
Ending. All over again. He thought he was done. No. It's just beginning.
Vin shook her head.
I'm worse than the Lord Ruler. In the end, maybe he... because he was still a freaking tyrant. Okay, so he has all this power and he still does his things.
Yeah, he did not rule wisely for 1,000 years.
Yeah, he oppressed. He had thousands of years, so he could have even done better at some point. He could have realized the error of his ways, and Dorcas's redemption arc. It could have happened. No, so anyway, but okay then.
It's noteworthy. It's probably it makes sense that Rashek would want to eliminate religion from the world if religion is what creates the opportunity for the creature to manipulate people into believing in a hero of ages to do the thing to set it free. I think Rashek did. I mean, when he got the power, he's endowed with super knowledge, and we don't fully know what Quan told him or not, but I do think he did. Yeah. So I understand him stamping out religion. I don't understand him oppressing the Ska.
Yep. But that's his own bigotry, I think.
I think you might be right there.
The Dominion thing, yeah.
Except that it's the Terracemen that had feruchemy, and I understand why he couldn't have compounding allomancer feruchemists, but they were his own people? Unless he, reversed it all? I don't know. We have to find out. Probably in the next book. I still predict it's going to be Rasheka epigraphs. And maybe we'll get some answers as to why he did the things that he did.
Yeah.
Continue with the line, please, Kitty.
In the end, maybe he realized he was being tricked and knew he had to take the power rather than release it.
If he'd been a good man, Vin, he wouldn't have done what he did to this land.
I may have done far worse.
Unintentionally.
Like with releasing this, yes. And we saw what she was considering doing. She's like, I could fix that. So, if she took the power, she wouldn't have done worse. And yes, she could have done far worse, sure. But she was tricked. But of course, then it's still fresh. This is 2 days later or something.
Yeah.
I may have done far worse. This thing I released, the mists killing people and coming during the day. Ellen, what are we going to do?
He looked at her for a moment, then turned back toward the city and its people. We're going to do what Kelsier taught us, Vin. We're going to survive. The end of Book 2.
Dun, dun, dun.
Excellent line.
He mentions Kelsier in the last line.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. I wouldn't have put that.
I think it's great.
I love the themes here with the religion being manipulated by a dark force, and then also a reminder that Kelsier manipulated religion himself in order to get the results he wanted for good, essentially.
Yeah, that's true.
So lots of discussion here, and it seems like Brandon Sanderson likes playing with that sort of discussion.
Yeah.
Theology. Wow.
None of the history that the feruchemists have brought with them over the 1,000 years can be trusted. None of it.
You know what also, well, none of it, but then because we don't know what the alternative is, we don't know. Because what I was thinking is, okay, why does the thing have to be so similar? Okay, when he changes, you know, when the words changed on Sazed's rubbing or whatever, okay, so it can change that. Why did it keep it so similar? Like, why can't it just write whatever the hell it wants?
I mean, the closest,
why does it have to,
the most believable lies are closest to the truth, right?
Yeah. So, but I don't know, like, is that the only reason that it would stay that way? So there's remnants of knowledge in all of that the keepers have. There's remnants, but you can't take it at face value.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't destroy it. I'm sorry, maybe I'm a hoarder or whatever. And I'm just like, build a Palladium. And maybe, like, we just know that everything that's written here, or like you said, let's have lead sheets, you know?
Yeah, look, I'm not saying delete everything.
Yeah.
But just, get that disclaimer on every text. May or may not be altered from the original.
Yeah, but you have to put that, like, just put a metal plate on every book that says it. The things that you read in here may or may not be true. Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh. What a book. Right. I'm going to sit with that for a while. Thank you so much for doing that with me, Kitty. Thank you.
I can't believe we're here. We're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to digest. I need to actually just...
Yeah.
Yeah. Well done.
Thank you, everyone who listened through all of the ups and downs, the fear, the enjoyment,
the theories, the expecting the book to be broken, then having it fixed in a couple paragraphs. Oh,
yep.
Very good. Very, very good. So enjoyable. Really, I do enjoy this book. I don't know why. I know I'm supposed to just love Way of Kings way more, but Mistborn has been it for me so far. I'm sorry, guys. Maybe it's just the way we're reading through it or something like that. But at the moment, I just love the Mistborn. Sorry. Not sorry.
It's pretty darn enjoyable. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great rest of your week. Subscribe to That Darn Kitty if you get a chance, because she's got a great channel. And we'll see ya in The Hero of Ages. Title still pending. Okay, thanks, bye.
Look out for it. Okay, thanks, bye.